Hey guys, welcome back. In this lecture, we will set the default role to user on account creation in our API only application. And one thing I would like to tell that this is not only for the user roles, but you can use the same concept to set the default value to any attribute of an active record model. We just need to use the active record callback for setting the default value for an attribute. So I'm going to do this in our API only application. Okay, so open the user model and set an active record callback. So first we need to register the callback, and we know that how we can register the callback. So just write the callback name here. That will be, let's say, not before, it's before. Okay, so before create. Okay, and then provide the callback name. Okay, so we can set it like, let's say, let's set user role. Okay, and then after registering the callback, you need to define the method for this callback. So just come to this meta programming snip below the meta programming snip and define the callback method here like that. Set user role, and now just add self dot role equal to admin. Self dot role equal to admin. Okay, by this what I want to do, I just want to set the admin role of user as a default role. Okay, so whenever a user is created now from the postman or from any other source, it will has a user role, sorry, the admin role by default. Okay, and you can see that before create, it means whenever we create a user, then before saving to the database we are setting a new role to this user, and that is admin. Okay, and that's it. Now try to create a new user from the postman. So switch to the postman and set the request body with the new user parameter, I mean email and password. So switch to the postman, and here you can see that right now in the member details you can see that no user is signed in, and we need to sign in or sign up the user first. So since we added this callback for the before create, so we need to sign up a new user. Okay, and here you need to change the request body. So let's provide another username, let's say user example. Okay, so user example at the rate example.com. Okay, so now what will happen that just switch to the user model again. So we register the callback that before create set user role, and we define that self dot role equal to admin into the set user role method. Okay, now when you send the request, this will create a user and set the admin role as the default role for this user. Okay, so when you click on send, okay, you can see into the body that this user is signed up successfully and its role is admin. Okay, and you can verify this on terminal as well where the server is running. So you can see that a new user has been inserted into the database with role admin. Okay, that means our callback has been worked here. So what we need to do to set the default value of an attribute, that first register the callback as before create, and then define that method and use self dot whatever the attribute name is, and then provide the default value for it. Okay, and you can access the same role at the member details page as well. Okay, so just click on the send. Okay, and you can see that user 8 user example at the rate example.com, and its role is admin. Okay, now we need to do one more change because we are not done yet. I just need to show one difference, that why we need to use self dot role or self dot attribute name before, or to set the default values. Okay, so first use the authorization token from sign up page and then sign out this user. Okay, so just copy this aux token or authorization token and send this to the delete request. Okay, and this will sign out the newly created user. Okay, so signed out successfully, and you can verify it on member details page that user has been signed out now. Okay, so now we need to do one change in the callback, that remove this self from here. Okay, okay, so you can see that before create set user role, and we are setting role equal to admin without using self. Okay, but when you create a new user, now this will not set the default value to the user role attribute. Okay, so let's try by creating another user. So switch to the postman. Okay, and update the request body. So here you can see, let's say user example one at the rate example.com. Okay, and make some space to the terminal. And when you submit this user now, you will see that user will be saved to the database, but without any role attribute, okay, and or its role will be null. So you can see in the postman in the request body that role is null, and you can verify the same thing on the member details page as well, that role is null. Okay, and same thing you can verify on the terminal as well, that user has been inserted into the database without role null. Okay, so switch to the user model again and undo the stuff that we do. So just keep it like self dot role equal to admin. Okay, so I hope you are clear now that whenever you need to set a default value, just do this by using self. Okay, and you also see that what will happen if we do not use the self by setting, when we set the new attribute or when we set the new value for any active record attribute. Okay, but you can skip using self when you are just fetching the value of attribute. Like here you can see that we are just using role equal to role name. Okay, or and role name is comes from this roles array. So here we are just making a comparison and we are fetching the role value from the database. Okay, so we do not need to use self here, but here we are trying to set the value, so we need to use self. So just make sure that whenever you fetch an active record value or whenever you try to fetch active record attributes value, then just do this without self. And whenever you try to set a new value for that active record or a default value for that active record attribute, just use it via self. Okay, and that's all for this lecture. In the next lecture I will explain one more concept related to this default attribute setting. So till then, try this lecture at your end, and if you have any doubt, just let me know through the comment section. So thanks for watching this, and let's meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, stay safe.